dude, like, oh my God, like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
We're in a new earth, kinda, right? Like I go back and forth with it all the time. Like, have we shifted? Have we not? Like, obviously things aren't the same as they once were, but and when I say shift, I mean like transition to a state of unity, to a state of interconnectedness, to a state of less conflict, to a state of togetherness, to a state of oneness. Right? People have their different definitions of shift, but I always looked at it as like being something more on the permanent side. And like I said, obviously, things aren't the same, but I've been battling recently. I'm like, because there's so many clear signals that things are just a little bit different, right? The feeling's a little bit off, and I mean in a good way. You got you had like Mac Miller back in whatever year it was. He made the Divine Feminine, and that shit caught my attention right away. I'm like, whoa, like these are words I've only heard from Drumvalo. You know what I mean? These are words I've only seen sequenced together in the spiritual section at Barnes and Noble. Like, the Divine Feminine, like what the fuck? And then you fast forward and you got Childish Gambino on Bando and the New Stone talking about we are God, and talking about and driving home the importance of love, and that we are all love, and doing songs with his son, going back and forth on the importance of being love, and what it means to love, and what it means to be family, and what it means to say fuck all the rest of this shit, this external validation. And it's like, okay, we're getting a little bit close. This is a man that's made hit TV shows and won awards and been as immersed in the most fickle part of culture as you can get, right? But he's speaking out and expressing himself on like this different level. And you got Jaden Smith, of course. He's always been making bangers about saving the planet, and then you got Kendrick on the other side telling Drake to take ayahuasca and strip his ego. It's like, okay, we're something's a little bit different. We're not afraid anymore to speak these universal truths. They're not so hidden anymore, right? You got creators on YouTube and just creators in general, but I want to highlight YouTube creators because I've seen such an influx of people connecting to their spiritual guides, channeling Saint Germain, channeling Archangel Michael, preaching the teachings of Drumvalo Melchizedek, really just like tapping into the importance of the heart center. That's not light stuff. That's taboo, or I thought it was, right? You got Joe Dispenza out here doing literal healing through frequency. Hey, cheers, man. Doing literal healing through frequency on like a global scale. I mean, this stuff isn't hidden. You know what I mean? He's not doing this shit low key. He's really tapped in, and people aren't like, whoever would come after this is not, they're not stopping this. I remember like a few years ago, I saw this documentary on Osho, and it was like they were like demonizing this nigga for the work he was doing out in India, and about his books and just everything, like these meditations, because they were so unconventional. And that shit was on Netflix, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, people are like really still drawing up a sword against spirituality. But I guess, you could say like it's because he has like he's literally backing it by scientific, research and stuff like that. But it's like, bro, at the end of the day, he's still telling you to heal through your heart. He's still telling you to focus on your heart center and to send healing through frequency to another person, to heal cancer and these things that obviously make the government a lot of money. You know what I mean? But speaking of, it's like then you got the FDA coming out like not too long ago, really condemning the use of dyes in Gatorade and our fruit snacks and shit like that. These red one and blue one dies and shit like this. Like, what the fuck? Like, something. I dare I say something has shifted, right? You know, that's what I would think. I'm like, damn, we're coming into a state of permanence of people not giving a fuck and willing to blow the whistle on shit that's not contributing positively to humanity. It's like, damn, finally we've woken up collectively to something better. And then you have the recent shit, right? With the fucking World War and with the fucking Israel and Iran conflict and with the Israel Gaza conflict. And I'll be the first to say, right, I've never really paid attention to anything political until this year. You can look at that as, you can call that sad or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like, I mean, it's just the truth. I've never cared. I've never let myself be immersed in politics because I just don't give a fuck. I just haven't. I haven't had a reason to. I I knew it was corrupt. I knew it was just like, okay, this is some bullshit, and it's, to be completely frank with you, it's never affected the way that I've lived my life and I've gone about my life. Okay, cool. Like, I'm paying an extra whatever for some gas or like groceries or whatever. I'm like, bro, it is what it is though. Like, shit's just expensive. Shit is, I just didn't give a fuck to that degree. Um, but then I started to pay attention a little bit more closely. Not only with like the Gaza conflict, because I'm like, okay, what is the purpose of this? Like, what are we doing? But also, it's like I have a loved one currently overseas right now, and I was like worried. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is up with this like Israel Iran shit? Because I didn't know this, but like, America is allied with Israel, and we were apparently looking for a way to involve ourselves in what the fuck they had going on. And I just couldn't understand why. I'm like looking around and I'm falling into these like rabbit holes of research about it. And I'm like, I literally cannot find any plausible reason other than, okay, we're allies with the niggas. But it's like, at the core of it, what they're doing, even with in Gaza, and like what they're doing with Iran is wrong. It's like, it don't matter if you allied or not. Like, it is that how fucking allies work? I'm thinking all of this stuff to myself, right? Because, put it this way, right? Like, on just like a homie to homie level, right? If you my nigga and you doing some wrong shit, I get some people are like, I'm riding with you, right or wrong. And I understand that mentality. I've had that mentality in the past for sure. But then I grew up and I was like, bro, if I see my homie like doing some bullshit, if they're not, if they're on a path that's destructive, I'm finna tell that nigga about himself. Just like I would want him to tell me about myself or her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just gonna ride with you. I'm not gonna back your bullshit. I feel like a true friend, a true homie, like, they're gonna tell you when you're on some bullshit, bro. They're gonna tell you when it's just not, the optics is just not looking good. But I guess it doesn't work like that in like the Allied Nations world or whatever the fuck. So I'm looking at this, right, and I'm like, well, what is our way in? Because at this point, we literally have no other reason to be over there outside of Israel's an ally, right? So, and you fast forward a little bit, and it's like, oh well, Iran has uranium enrichment. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm like, do y'all give a fuck about this? Did y'all care about this like 2-3 years ago? And I'm seeing some shit, right? It's like, oh well, we've been saying for years that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. They cannot have, and I'm like, but this is the time to emphasize it because this is the way in, right? This is a way to be involved. And I'm like, damn, I hope people are like seeing this shit for what it is, right? It's not just me. Like, this is a fucking puppet show. This is like A leads to B, which leads to C. Like, the ultimate goal is to be involved in what the fuck they got going on. Then you fast forward and they carry out the strike, right? Trump carries out the strike. And it's just like, bro, what the fuck are we, what are we doing, bro? We literally just bombed some shit just for the fuck of it, to be seemingly in Israel's good graces. Like that shit seemed like it had very little to do with like the uranium enrichments and more to do with just like this is the way to get involved with what the fuck Israel has going on. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this all play out. I'm like, what the fuck is finna happen now? Like, obviously, retaliation, right? Like, it wouldn't just be like, oh, we get involved and then nothing happens. So then Iran's like, okay, well, we're about to bomb some surrounding U.S. bases and territories. And I'm like, this can't be real, right? Like, it had to be like forethought. Like, okay, this is what obviously is going to happen. Like, did you just put needless lives in harm's way just to like get involved? So then they retaliate, right? And they bomb some fucking base. Nobody's on it. No US military personnel is on it. Nobody's there. Okay. So then Trump tweets and he's like basically like cheers to the success of our bombing of the nuclear enrichment sites. They've been obliterated, and I hope sorry, I didn't I thought it was a possibility that if they heard me, that shit might start an argument. That's funny, but like I need to think better of people. Like I'm part of the problem. But um nah, so Trump tweets and he's like, I hope Iran has gotten it all out of their system, and uh they bombed our one of our US bases, but they gave us a heads up in advance that they were going to do this, and we were very successful in our strike. And I'm like, bro, this shit is performative as fuck. Like this shit is rooted in the lowest form of ego, bro. It's just some shit I just cannot get behind. Cause that shit literally made no sense. If it was real smoke, if it was real conflict, why the fuck would they warn them where they're gonna? It's just like, oh well, we gotta get our get back. Like we got an eye for an eye. That's like some petty childish shit, bro. That's some shit you do to like your girl cheat on you and you cheat back to even it. It's like, bro, what the fuck? But we're doing this on a grand scale with fucking missiles and bombs and like military muscle and might. Like that's crazy, bro. Is that not crazy? Am I the only one that thinks that is fucking ridiculous? And then I'm looking on Twitter and I'm going down the rabbit hole, bro. I'm seeing all these fucking like Republicans, these strong like Republican opinions, like, oh, well, you people were stupid for thinking that it could be anything different, and you gotta trust Trump, and you gotta trust that he's doing what's best for America. Bro, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, are y'all insane, bro? Are y'all insane? Are y'all not looking at this for like really what it is? Are y'all not seeing past the flex and the performance? So anyways, right, that's the other side of it that worries me. That's why I feel like we haven't truly shifted yet. It's like if that's the bullshit that we're on, how could we? How can we? How can we move forward as a collective consciousness in unity, in oneness, in interconnectedness, and all the shit that I said at the beginning, if at the highest level, at the highest point, the people with the most power are doing shit like that? Fuck a new earth. Earth, period. Earth as is can't heal until there's a true paradigm shift. I'm not here to talk down on old people at all. I'm here to talk down on the old ass motherfuckers. And I'm not even talking about old physically, old in mind, that are in positions of power and making these decisions. And that
don't know what the fuck they're doing.
These niggas need to be replaced with smarter, wiser motherfuckers, bro. People that can look at themselves in the mirror and say, oh, that was like some dumb shit that I just voted to pass. That really wasn't a smart decision that I just made. That really didn't make sense on a microcosm level. It has to be an understanding internally before you can start making decisions externally for people. Give me niggas that represent humanity and not America. You know, Joe Dispenza, Jaden Smith, Greta Thunberg, you know, these are people that are doing enormous work on like a global scale, right? The least I can do is my part. The least I can do is sit in front of this camera and call for us to be better as a collective consciousness and the things that we can control, and call for like the world to do better in general. The shit that we can't control, but the shit that they can. You know what I mean? I've always wanted like to somebody that can play these niggas game. You know what I mean? Because they're not gonna let anybody in that's not playing their game. But somebody that can play their game, that can kind of infiltrate like on some sleeper agent shit, and then turn the tables once they get there, once they get in the higher position, once they get in the Senate, once they get in Congress, once they get in the cabinets, like, and just be like, hey, bro, all y'all motherfuckers sitting right here are dumb as shit. This is what we finna do. This is how we finna change the world. This is how we're finna institute collective consciousness and growth. This is how we're finna usher in peace. That's what I'm calling for. That's what I hope arises out of the fucking ashes of whatever the fuck we've been doing.